self-sabotage after 50 and how to fix it. Hey, Sophie here. Now, most of the time I do videos on nutrition, on exercise, and so definitely subscribe to my channel because I do help women over the age of 50 to get into the best shape of their life inside and out. But occasionally I do a deeper dive into the mindset piece, which actually is the most important piece, because as well as being a board certified nutritionist, I'm also a transformational mindset coach, and that's what I've been doing for 20 years. And it's my greatest passion, because to see how women can really transform themselves, really from the inside out, is the most wonderful, powerful thing for me to be able to witness. And they find that within themselves, or I help them to find that within themselves. And so I wanted to do this quick video on sabotage, because sabotage is such a big deal, self-sabotage, and particularly for women over the age of 50. So why? I mean, it is for all of us, honestly. I have a 24-year-old daughter, and I think it's just universal, isn't it, that we tend to sabotage ourselves. I think very few people don't. But I think when we get over the age of 50, it can get a little bit worse, and here's why. First off, our body changes, and everything feels like we feel defeated by it. It's like, oh, I've got all the menopausal symptoms and the belly fat and the brain fog and the aches and pains. So now we feel really defeated. It's just like I've been pushing through. You're a successful woman, you've raised a family, you've done all these things in your life, and then you get into your 50s or your 60s or your 70s, and suddenly it's like, oh, you know, my body's really not working anymore. And so that's one reason why the voice of self-sabotage can get even worse. And the other reason is that in this chapter, in this age group, and you let me know in the comments below, but a lot of us are dealing with a whole different set of circumstances in our life, such as children that are making their way in the world. We're in the sandwich generation. We've got parents or relations who need a lot of caregiving. So we are stuck in the middle, and that is when the saboteur really gets loud, because that voice of the saboteur is, you haven't got any time left for you, you can't take any time for you, you don't deserve it, look at all these people that need your help, you haven't got time, you don't deserve to do self-care for you, and on it goes. And so the sort of weakness in ourselves and the patterns that we have, I call it our personal brand of suffering, that may have played out for much of your life, particularly if you've never had coaching, that just becomes even louder in sort of post-menopause after 50. And the really sad thing is that this should be a really beautiful transition. This should be a time, or could be a time, when we really come into our own, when we have all this sort of wisdom and this life experience, and we're ready to sort of really go to the next level. But sadly, it really doesn't work out like that. Sadly, it is a time where we can either go in one direction, in the really positive direction, where we can really go, this is a new opportunity to open up into strength and my power, and sort of dancing with menopause in a different way. Or it's a time where sort of everything gets worse, and your inner saboteur, that I call the super villain, really doubles down. So, do you relate to this? I am sure you do. And to get into this a little bit more, I do encourage you to watch. I'm always creating these little free masterclasses, and I have created a new one, and I'm linking to it in the description below, where I do go into this sort of supervillain, taming the supervillain piece. So I want you to have a really good look at that. But I just want to give you a good takeaway from this video, a good fix. I call it a sort of 4-minute fix to deal with this inner saboteur. And this 4-minute fix, you do 4 minutes in the morning, and then you can do 4 minutes in the evening. And so this is how you're going to do it. So in the morning, first thing in the morning, just when you've come out of that alpha brainwave state, which is the sort of sleepy, drowsy state, we tend to then just snap into being stimulated, basically. We pick up our phone. We're reactive to social media, to the news, to texts. So we don't even give ourselves that moment to kind of recalibrate and get ready for our day. We're already into being stimulated with everything that is worrying, concerning, and fearful around us in the world, in our family, whatever else is going on. So it's really important that you give yourself time, and I would say at least 4 minutes. This is what I teach my clients to do. At least 4 minutes in the morning, when before you get into busy, which is the beta brainwaves state, which is the busy, it's when your mind is a little bit more fragmented and you're busy and you start multitasking. Before you go there, when you're still in alpha brainwave state, this is when you want to do this piece, this little 4-minute routine. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to do some simple breath work. Okay, so simple breath work, we obviously breathe anyway, but you want to think of your breath being this, you're breathing life into who you want to be and how you want to be for that day. So sit down in a comfy chair or on a yoga mat or wherever's comfortable with you, and just for a moment before you get to any of the phone, the computer, the people, the pets, whatever, then, actually pets, I'm saying pets, I have to let my pets out first, my dogs out first, but then I sit down. This is a daily discipline that I do every single day, no matter what. You do a little bit of breath work, and whatever breath work works for you. I teach my clients all different kinds of breath work. It can be 4-7-8 breath, it can be box breathing. There's lots of different breath work practices that you can do, and you can look up what some of those are. Or just as simply as you just sit, you close your eyes, and you're just going to inhale in love, whatever that love for you is. It could be love, loving spirit. It could just be a feeling of love. It could be connected to the God of your understanding. So you're just inhaling that beautiful expansion of love. I like to go, I'm inhaling love, and then I'm exhaling life force out into the world. So immediately now you're connecting to what you want to put out in the world. Because when we're in stress, we're always thinking about kind of me. What have I got to do for me and make myself safe and do for me? But this immediately just shifts that into, I'm breathing in love, I'm breathing in thank you, I'm receiving this love, I'm giving myself this love. And now I'm exhaling out this life force, exhaling out this love in the form of my life force to those around me who might need it, to the world, to my day, to those who might need it. And just do about 4 or 5 cycles of that breath. And then that just stills you and gets you a little bit centered. So that would be the first thing. So that's number 1, is the breath work. Number 2 is when you get quiet enough, it only takes a couple of minutes, then you are going to ask yourself, what do I want? What is the outcome that I desire for today? Okay, just a simple outcome. Because, and this might sound very simple, but I'm going to bet that you don't do it. Because we tend to look at everything that we don't want and that's difficult and all the problems in our life. That's all we tend to focus on. So it's a little pattern interrupt to go, okay, what do I want today? What is the outcome that I want today? And it's going to be different on different days, and of course it's different for all of you. But the outcome that I desire for today, okay? That's the next thing. Then you're going to I do all of this with my eyes closed. Okay, so here's the outcome that I want for today. Then I am going to ask myself, and you are going to ask yourself, what would it feel like to have achieved that outcome? What would it feel like if that had come about for today? If I already had that outcome, what would it be like? What would it feel like is the key. Okay? Because now you are teaching your body to feel something different other than this chronic stress that you're probably about to go walk into. But this is really going to help you to stop sabotaging yourself. Okay? Because in the face of the gremlin or the supervillain who wants to get you to start worrying and fretting and being, motivated by fear and stress, you are actually taking responsibility now. You're taking control. You're going, no, this is what I do first. Okay? So you're going to feel what that outcome would feel like. And then finally, you're going to imagine, okay, so how do I get there? This sounds really simple, but what's the pathway to get there? And this is something you can visualize, you can get up and you can journal about. What is the most efficient pathway to realize that outcome for today? And you might even, in visualizing that, you might even visualize possible obstacles that might come up in your path. And then you're going to mentally rehearse overcoming those obstacles. So now in just 4 minutes, you are prepared for your day. And you will be so much less likely to self-sabotage because you've got a plan. Now, throughout the day, there are going to be moments when you're going to be knocked sideways. Of course there are. But just starting the day in that way gives you a head start on at least facing the saboteur or stemming her before she even gets started. Okay? So that's the morning. Now, the 4-minute evening routine is a gratitude routine. And this is non-negotiable, no matter what has happened in your day. Because the saboteur in the evening, when you're tired and you're stressed, is going to want to say to you, oh, look at your day, it was terrible, this didn't work out, that didn't work out. And then you've heard everybody else's limiting beliefs and fear and nonsense, and then all the world news and events, and goodness knows there's a lot of fear in the world right now. So that's when the saboteur can really, I call it the supervillain again, can really get to you when you're tired, when you're stressed out, when you've had a day, when everything's gone wrong. So you need to take responsibility for that. It's not just going to happen. So what you're going to do in the evening is spend at least 4 minutes. You can do it in bed, before you go to bed, I don't care, where you're going to sit down and you are going to think. You can either think a gratitude list or you can write a gratitude list. But this is how it needs to be. First, you're going to think of 3 wins of that day. 3 wins, because a day that you haven't been winning is a poor day indeed. And there's always going to be something that you win at. The inner saboteur is very hard on you and wants to go, no, you didn't do anything right, you messed up, you're a failure. No, you're not going to take that. That's not true. So you need to take responsibility and write down, here are my 3 wins, my 3 things that I'm celebrating that worked today, that I did right, that I managed to do. And you will always find them. From my clients, I don't never accept no wins. And once we get going, they find that they have a lot. Start with that, then you're going to do your gratitude list. Okay, and 3 things that you're grateful for, but don't be general about your gratitude. So for instance, rather than, oh, I'm grateful for my husband, I will think of something very specific from that day that I'm grateful for my husband about. The way that he held my hand when we were, in the vet's office, the oncologist, my beautiful sunshine has cancer now. The way that he took my hand and held my hand and stroked the back of my head and looked at me, because he knew how hard this is for me, and I'm so grateful to have that love and support in those difficult moments. That's what I'm grateful for. And then I'll find those other things that I'm grateful for. It doesn't necessarily need to be about a person. Then it'll be, and then I went to the grocery store and I was able to have access to these incredible foods that I used to heal my body and so on. And specifically, there was this food that I so enjoyed the way that I cooked it today. So try and be very specific, because then you're emotionally connected to it. And that is your evening routine. Okay? So that's your 4-minute fix to deal with that inner saboteur. You've got 4 minutes in the morning, 4 minutes in the evening. Can you do it? Yes or no? I know that's a resounding yes. And do make sure that you have that you watch this new class that I created for you. I'll be sure to link to it in the description of this video, and I will see you next time.